We all have those little dreams inside of our hearts and they want to be expressed. Do you have maybe a little creative dream within you that you want to make happen, but does it at some times feel too painful to even think that maybe you could fulfill that dream, make that book, create that blog, start that YouTube channel, write that novel, whatever it is? I'm going to give you hope today because I've got a very special gift who was where you may be, and she has made some of her biggest creative dreams come true and has helped me create one of my most creative dreams. So it's going to be creativity expansion all around today. So stay tuned. And if you're new here, my name is Erin Kurt, and I'm a spiritual teacher and founder of The Elegant Life, a space where I empower spiritual women just like you to self actualize, to embody their true self, and manifest their dream lives with elegance, ease, and confidence. So if that sounds like something you're interested, then subscribe and stay tuned for this episode. So, I would like to introduce you to my special guest today, all the way from my hometown in Calgary, Canada. Her name is Tamara. So, welcome, Tamara, to the Elegant Life today.
Thank
And
you.
we are going to be chatting about just what I said. There was a point in time
Mhm.
when you came to me back in, I think it was 2011 or 2012, and
Long
you
time.
had so many dreams. And yet, the way I described how you were back then was like a little scared bird who had
Mhm.
dreams, but like, can I do this? Do you think it's gonna work? Do you? And to see where your life has gone now, and then you helping me just recently, it's been an honor to watch your journey. And I would just like you to share a little bit of where you were and then how you got to where you are now so that women who are watching that have their own dreams of doing something in their life creatively, or it doesn't even have to be creatively, just putting themselves forward in their life and being their authentic self. I want them to feel hope.
Mhm.
I'll leave it over to you to just describe where you were and where you've gotten to.
Thank you. It seems like it was a long time ago, but I had to actually really try to tune back into like, okay, what was it like back then? So at the time, my kids were little and I was at home with them doing a day home business. So I did that for a moment in time, and then that stage of life was naturally changing. They were going to school. So I always knew that that was just a moment in time that I was only going to do that at that time, but I didn't know how to get to the next thing. And
Right.
when I think of it, I couldn't even see myself as anything but a day home lady or a mom. And thinking about that future just hurt, like you said before, because it just didn't seem possible. So it's like, why dream about that? Because I can't get that. You know what I mean? So part of it was reaching out for help. And I think like part of that was trying to get some sort of validation, external validation. But basically, what you did is just keep pointing it back to me, saying, figure it out in your heart. And that gave me some safety, I think, in being able to trust myself.
Yeah. Honoring
So,
dreams. If
yeah.
they're there for a reason. Like, I didn't have your dreams and someone else doesn't have your dreams, but gosh, those dreams are personal. They mean something. When you describe not being able to even think about it because it hurt, wow, like that's powerful. So I think the first step to point out to ladies here is, you notice how she said it hurt, yet she reached out for support. That means there was something internally, even greater than the fear, that was saying,
Mhm,
but you want this. So it
mhm.
made you reach out. That's powerful. Okay, go on.
Yeah, it's huge. So I think taking those little steps started helping me see myself differently than I saw myself before. Um, so that sort of mental shift was huge, but then the fact was I didn't have any skills. I shouldn't say no skills. I did go to art college, because like you say, I had all these creative dreams, But, at that time, it wasn't sort of, available like it is of how to build a website, how to create these paper products, like, I just literally had no idea even what skills I needed. So if that helps anybody to know when you can truly start from nothing, it's like I was Googling what is code. I how do you get the stuff from your mind and your heart onto a computer? Like, I really had no idea.
Yes.
So part of that was realizing I needed to do some work in building my skills and not being afraid to do that and knowing that it probably was going to be terrible. You know, you have all these fears about will people like it? Will they not? Is it going to be bad? But probably your first ones are going to not be great and sort of accepting that as part of the process. To
That's
get there, you need to accept that it's not going to be perfect, which was hard for me at first, and it still is.
Yes. Can I just stop you here? Because this is the biggest thing that I think women who have a dream need to know and understand and almost expect
Yeah.
that when you do something your first time, it's
Yeah.
not going to be like how you did it before. If anybody wants to go back to my first YouTube videos, the energy that I bring now is like, oh, wake up, Erin, get the energy up a little bit, and the quality is fuzzy, but you do it. And then the next time you try to do it, even just 1% better,
Mhm.
you don't have to quantum leap all the time. There's this pressure in society that, oh, I came out with my first and it was this huge hit. I mean, not a lot of the time is it? So I think that was
Mhm.
so key to tell people, but you just keep going. I remember I told someone who was so scared to put something out, and I said, this is volume one. You can come out
Yeah.
with volume two next year, like that's the kind of thing. So great point. So you kept building your skills, and as you built your skills and you sought support, your identity changed and your confidence
Mhm.
grew, and that those two together really creates momentum to go forward. So why don't you
Yes.
share a couple of things that you actually were able to manifest in your life?
Momentum was so key, like that word, the perfect word, because that it's invaluable to have that momentum behind you. And like you said, it doesn't always feel like it's big, but it is. So from then I started doing a paper company. That was version one.
Yeah.
And as I started building my skill set and building this business, I also found out that I was a multi-passionate individual. And there was other things just than doing that. I loved different kinds of design. I've done all kinds of things. I've done large scale murals. I've done digital work, all kinds of stuff, watercolor painting. So because my kids were little, I started writing children's books. And I ended up writing, illustrating, publishing, and manufacturing, starting a publishing company. And those books became quite successful. And
Did you hear
it
that, ladies? Started a publishing company. Like just says it like this now, but at the beginning it was like, what is code? you know?
that's right.
Good job.
And actually, thank you for pointing that out too, because that's something that I have struggled with, but I think other people should do is acknowledge the things that you've done. Because I'm notoriously bad. And just recently, I have a friend who we're now sort of accountability partners. And once a month, it's in the calendar to say, hey,
That
what happened that was good this month? What did you do? What was something that we would have blown by before? But I think that builds on the momentum also, no matter what stage you're at. So
that is such a good idea.
I love it too because it's so easy for me not to do. And it also makes me feel good to hear what other people are doing, to see somebody acknowledge themselves. That makes me
Yeah.
feel great. I love that. It's inspiring.
Wow. And you also started a bespoke matches company. I don't know if you have a sample there that you can show,
Yes.
but
So I went from, publishing children's books, then as the season of my life also changes, this is something that I want to like acknowledge for your community is that there's seasons of life. And when I was in the season of having little kids at home, probably not the best time to start a business of dangerous goods in my basement. But writing children's book was perfect because I was sitting at the table with them painting, and it was a time for us to connect as well. So did the children's book, started another product-based company, which was different. And all along the way, I worked with other people in the small business creative community, which I still do, which I still love. And that also helps me. I realized I do better when I have more on my plate, when it's not just my stuff. I like working for other people too. And that goes to us working together. It's fun for me. I love doing that.
Can you feel the difference in Tamara's energy, just where she is now? She commands her world, her presence, and it's not like, you don't have ever a fear or these kind of things, but
Of course.
you know now that you can get through those times and that there might be another time like that, but you can get through it. And there are ways, and you've cultivated a support system. So that's amazing. Tamara is actually someone, because she has followed me and she's been a client over these years, whenever she feels she needs a realignment or a check in or to clear spiritual detox,
Mhm.
whatever it is, she comes and we work together. And she said to me, just, I don't know, was it about 6 months ago or even
At
longer?
least, yeah, it might have been longer.
Wow. And she said, Erin, you have such a bespoke morning ritual that you do. And I would love to help you create that for your community. Now, this had been a dream in my heart for a long
Mhm.
time. Yet thinking of doing it and doing that whole thing by myself was just like, oh, okay, it's on the to-do list, but there's more priorities that were higher for me because they were going to be easier. And when you said that, it was like, this is the perfect timing. And so this is the journal that Tamara helped me create for all of you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a whole link to a video that I released a couple of weeks ago. And I'll put the links to these Elegant Life journals in the description box below. We've got black, we've got the feminine pink, and we've got the luxurious green. And one of the reasons it was so important for me to create this journal is because, and if any of you watch me on YouTube or you've seen me on Instagram, you see my morning ritual where I'm actually writing out the whole question or the prompt and things like this. And I cannot believe the difference. I mean, I always chose a pretty journal, like I always had a pretty journal, but there's something about this that says my elegant life. It's about me connecting with my higher self and everything else that's in that morning ritual. This grounds me in a
Mhm.
different way than that other journal did. It's so powerful. And that's why I really wanted to bring it to other women too. If I'm enjoying it even more than before, then I definitely know other women are too. So thank you so much again for helping me do that and bring that to the ladies. And one of the reasons why Tamara brought this idea to me is because she's been doing it for herself or a different kind of purpose. So, do you want to just talk about what you've been doing?
Sure. So after more than 10 years of us working together, and I started that little paper business, it just kind of came full circle. And now I'm doing other journals and notebooks and notepads and paper products that are aligned for different specific purposes. So I've got one for youth, one for a work day, one for wellness focus. So sort of a signature series of specific notebooks. The thing that I learned through it is that there's room for all of us. When you think about that dream, like, oh, a notebook business, there's already people doing notebooks out there. But I know in my heart that there's room for all of us. So I just love that we can work together and I can do custom for people. And even if there's gratitude in yours or in somebody else's, I know that there's an energy to it and there's a intention behind it and there's room for all of us.
That is so gorgeous. And I really believe that too. And I think if anyone who's watching has a dream of creating something, whatever it is in their lives, even going for a new job or
Mhm.
creating a book or even a journal, what advice would you give them if they're having a lot of fear come up, if they think, oh, who's going to buy mine? Is it going to be good enough? Like, what advice would you give to them right now?
The thing I would say that has to sort of drive everything is to tune in before you do anything, before you put anything out. So getting the support and taking those actions are important, but I think keeping your vision clear of like, why do I want to do journals? You know, there's a different like seed of intention behind it. And I think
Yeah.
tuning into that first, no matter what you're doing, whenever I post on social media or do a newsletter or anything like that, I'm not doing it to get on an algorithm. I'm not doing it because you can chase those things so easily, right? And it's just kind of empty, I think I
Yeah.
would say. So that hope and dream has to align with you. So
Not
that's, I think,
getting outside validation, not for feeling like you're going to be important if you create something or do something or get that job or whatever it is. You have
yeah,
to get back in alignment. I always say, what is your intention? Is it truly a soul based desire, which comes from here and you just don't know where it came from? It's just here. Or is it coming from here where you want a payoff? Because if
yeah,
you look, we all would love our things to be successful and benefit so many people, yet that can't be your intention for creating it. And I think that takes the pressure off too. You just
yeah,
create it with a generous heart and release it into the universe. Obviously there's some things you need to do to help people even find it. I mean, that's important, but the intention is so key. I love that you said tune in. So any other advice?
I think just balancing like life as well as that, you know, so when you do get aligned, then being willing and open to take action and to reach out for support when you need to. And like a big gift for me has been to work with other creative individuals and honor when I'm not good at something also. You know, I don't have to get good at everything. I'm not good at keywords. Maybe I will be someday. I don't feel called to do that just yet,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but, to be able to I think it expands what your dream as well, when you can find people that are aligned and let them do what they're good at. Same thing actually with what you said that you wanted to do the journal, but that doing the actual layout and the files wasn't that exciting to you, and I was, like, delighted. I couldn't wait to talk about shades of pink with you.
Oh,
You know what
I
I
love
mean?
that. See, that's the fun part. I love being in part of the design, but I
Yeah.
don't do the design. This
Yeah,
is a
you've got other
great
things.
point. Yes, this is it. We don't have to be good or get good at everything. When
Everything, yeah,
you know what your talents and your gifts and your joys are, that's what you want to lean into. And then those other little parts, I think it's good to be educated about some of it, but
for sure.
not have to do it. So, ladies, on that note, I hope you were inspired today. I hope you realize you're not the only one who has fears. And yet, I hope that you were inspired today to know that there is support and actually you can do this in this lifetime. So,
Mhm.
make it an elegant week, and I'll see you next time.